In the Undertale universe, when monsters die, they first enter a comatose state right before turning into dust and then dying. In entry number 6, Asgore had Alphys ran an experiment on fallen down monsters that were sent by their families. The experiment was to have the fallen down monsters' souls persist after death, similar to how the human souls do it. The goal of this experiment was to strengthen monster souls strong enough to cross the barrier without needing a human soul. However, the monster's body could not handle the determination, and were forcibly melted together due to the overflow of determination. This caused many trauma to Alphys, to the point she never responded to the letters of the families of the fallen down monsters. And she barely told anybody of it, not even Asgore. There's also many evidence showing that Alphys was suicidal because of this. Flowey is one of the 2 characters with voice clips in the game, the other being Metaton. Flowey says,
"That's a wonderful idea,"
at the end of the ruins on a No Mercy run, plus 3 unused audio clips. These phrases is a higher pitched clip of an old McDonald's commercial originating from the 1960s, where you could get a deal with a triple thick McDonald's trademark triple shake with an added $3 on McDonald's hamburgers with fries and ketchup, all within the $5 deal combo, with an added bonus of a buy one get one free McDonald's kids meal toys, with toys included, in a McDonald's near you. Little bonus fact, there are also many other clips within the commercial that also match voice and sound clips within the game. So I want to show you an example of a few more. Enjoy.
Oh, what a beautiful day for fun. What would you like to do? Oh, Harvey, that's a wonderful idea. Let's see. What kind of food should we have? Great! I packed some right here. Let's see. McDonald's hamburgers? And some French fries? Don't they look delicious? And some triple thick McDonald's shakes? Oh. Oh. Well, we can always make good use of that. Ah, here they are. Triple thick McDonald's shakes. Well, they're empty. Hey, you sure can get a lot in these bags, can't you?
If Clam Girl is encountered in the epilogue of the Nintendo Switch version of Undertale, she first mentions how the protagonist never met her neighbor's daughter. She explains how the time the player will meet her is fast approaching, and her sprite becomes grayscale. And in this dialogue makes her disappear with the same sound used for the Mystery Man and the second Gaster follower. This, along with her sprite being labeled as SPR_Clam_Goner, suggests a link to Goner Kid. Most of Undertale's official merchandise are produced and sold by a company named Fangamer. They sell standard merchandise like t-shirts, mugs, posters, tarot cards, and etc. But they also sell plushies. Now, let's say if your limited edition Toriel plushie were to get cut open by 2 lunatics with a box cutter, you would find a monster soul hidden inside her. You can see the whole process by IGN in their Ripping Apart Fangamer's Undertale's Toriel plushie video. Link in the description. Much like how the theory that implies that you are the anomaly, this theory states that Flowey is the anomaly. Flowey at the end of the neutral routes always suggests that you go back and try something new. He mainly suggests that you either try to go back and meet Undyne and become better friends with her, or discover Alphys' true secrets in her lab, or proving his philosophy about life and death is wrong and challenges you to not kill anybody. Even though he may not have the power to save and reload like you, he still can manipulate other characters like Papyrus, Asgore, Toriel, and even sometimes you to do his bidding, which could cause an impact to the Underground's faith. Flowey is an undeceivable force and is one of the main driving factors that can determine the Underground's fate, just like the anomaly Sans theorized. This is a phrase spoken by Flowey. Flowey would say this phrase if he repeated his tutorial pretending not to know who he is. Resetting again causes Flowey to become annoyed and questions if the protagonist has anything better to do. Hence the phrase, "Don't you have anything better to do?" Some people think that Sans the skeleton isn't actually a skeleton. You see, Sans being a skeleton seems believable at first. But if you pay attention to his design and sprite, he doesn't really move his mouth a lot, unlike his brother, another skeleton in the underground. It's almost like his face is a mask. Not only that, but in the No Mercy run, once striking down, Sans bleeds. Now, you don't need a degree in biology or science for this, but skeletons don't really fucking bleed. But hear me out. Before you make up your mind on this subject, I need to point a few things out first. Now, let's take a logical approach on this. We know that Sans drinks a lot of ketchup, so it's most likely ketchup that's pouring out of his body once you strike him down. Now, if that doesn't convince you enough, blood does come from bone marrow, which is inside your bones. Shocking, I know. I got a degree in biology. And since Sans is a living being, it would make sense that his bones would produce blood. Or magic blood? But then again, Papyrus is also a living being and a skeleton, so why didn't he bleed when you decapitated his head from his body? Maybe he didn't have enough iron or something, I don't know. Who knows, really? During your playthrough in Undertale, if you were to backtrack from an important scene of the game, you would see a small glimpse of Flowey. But as soon as you see him, he quickly buries into the ground, waiting for you to progress into the next room. Flowey does this countless times during your entire adventure through the underground, from the very beginning to the ruins, and to the late as the core. In the No Mercy run, however, it seems like he actually travels ahead of you, and helping you out with puzzles and deactivating them as well, instead of following you. Inside the game's files are a string of texts that imply a stable was planned to be put in the game. In the set stable, there is a trash can where a key can be found. If the key is brought to the horse stable, you'll be greeted by this thing. More on that later in the video. In Undertale's game files, there are many test rooms used to test things. There's just so many test rooms that I would like to talk about, but we'll be here all day, so I'm only gonna mention the very interesting rooms. Enjoy! Room 123, also known as room_water_pre-bird in the game's files, seems to be a room that was planned to be placed before the small bird that carries the protagonist over a disappointingly small gap. The room has two NPCs hidden within the grass. One of them remarks that they love to catch bugs in their spare time, and the other one asks the protagonist to do something about their friend who has a creepy smile. If the protagonist speaks to the second NPC again, the NPC asks where their friend went. Exiting the area on the left crashes the game, and exiting the area to the right softlocks the game to a black screen. This could be the bug catching spot Toriel mentions when talking to her in her house. Room 272, also known as room_water_redacted, is a black room that has this NPC in the middle. Doesn't it look familiar? As the protagonist approaches the NPC, it will start to fade, and once spoken to, it will say, in Wingdings. This NPC represents one of the two possible sprites for WD Gaster. Room 301, also known as room_tundra_roll snow, has a small snowball whose mechanics are similar to the ball game in Snowden Forest. If the protagonist pushes the snowball, it will gradually grow until it reaches its maximum size. This room does not connect to any other rooms. This was probably used to experiment the physics of the snowball. Room 326, also known as room_of_dog, is the annoying dog error room if the save is invalid. The unused soundtrack music known as Sigh of Dog plays in the background of this room. This is basically an error message. Alright, this is some pretty old news, but back in the beginning of 2019, Game Theory's secondary channel known as GT live streamed a game called Heartbound. However, MatPat used clickbait tactics and misled his audience to believe that Heartbound was made by Toby Fox and it's another installment in the series of Undertale. No surprise there. But the creator of Heartbound, Pirate Software, called him out for this, and MatPat responded on Twitter saying, "No, it's not my fault. It was my employees' fault, and it's their fault that I didn't check the description, tags, title, and thumbnail of my video on my channel. Also, we don't list games on our live streams because creators like you and everybody else does not make us money." This tweet got the big dog Toby Fox to reply saying, afterwards, MatPat replied that he will now link every game that he plays in his live streams and support the creator of Heartbound. In Papyrus's character design, he has a symbol on his battle body. Yeah. Which resembles the Starman mark from Earthbound. Not much is known on who Susie is. The only piece of information we get in the game about her is Clam Girl. Clam Girl mentions her neighbor who has a daughter around your age. However, you never get to meet her in the game. This is a theory that believes that the flower bed that you fall in the very beginning of the game is the burial ground of Kara. The theory is further proven in the true pacifist ending. During the epilogue, if you backtracked all the way back to the ruins, you would find Azrael at the flower bed. I mean, why else would he be there? Just to look at flowers when he already was a flower? Or is there another reason why he's there? Just a little food for thought. This was a marketing campaign that the official Undertale Twitter account did. The Twitter account made a series of strange tweets prior to the release of the Deltarune demo. No one's quite sure who wrote these tweets, but it could be. In the Smash Bros. Ultimate files, the Sans Meek Gunner costume had an unused glowing eye texture that would have been likely to flash during battles. Reasons for it being cut are unknown. At the near end of the game, you would face the king of all monsters known as Asgore Dreamer. In this fight, you are forced to fight him without the option of sparing him for a certain amount of time. If you were to die in this fight more than once, you can tell Asgore that he has killed you a number of times before, and he will then respond with a simple nod. You see, in Undertale, it's shown that very few characters know about saves and resets. Most of them just believe it's just deja vu, and the only few characters that seem to know about timelines and resets are Sans, Flowey, and maybe Alphys. I don't know, I'm stretching this, okay? But after researching this, if Asgore knows that he killed you in a different timeline before, just how many monsters in the underground actually know about timelines? Prior to researching this, I only thought there were only 2 characters, excluding Asgore, that knew the concept of timelines, saves, and resets. But it really makes you think, if every monster that you came across your journey were to kill you, Would they too remember that you died from them in a different timeline? Do they remember the timeline where they lived on the surface? Do they also remember the timeline where everyone they knew, including themselves, were killed? Do they remember me opening a bag of potato chips upside down? Oh god, I hope not. Flowey's character design might have been inspired by the flowers from Earthbound, which Toby did include in one of his Halloween hacks. Even the dialect spoken by them is quite similar to Flowey's character. Underminers is a play on words for data miner in Undertale. Man, I'm so good at explaining things. Anyways, a subreddit called r/underminers is a subreddit that is determined to find/data mine all the game's secrets, unused content, and sprites to the World Wide Web. They were the driving force that made Toby Fox stop adding cool secrets in his games. But hey, at least we got the sprite sheets uploaded to the internet, so at least they're good at that. I was having a lot of trouble on what this could be a reference to, but I got a couple of ideas. My first guess is the save point. In Undertale's save mechanic, your save point is represented by this yellow star shaped thing. This star saves all your progress you've completed throughout the game. However, the save point also serves another mechanic, a body counter. In the No Mercy run, each time you interact with the save point, it will display a number counter telling you how many monsters are left in the area and how much you can kill off at that point. Once you kill all the monsters, the star will then display a message saying determination. This could imply that determination is the manifestation of the star that can save and reset timelines, making it the most powerful force to be reckoned with in the underground. Or it could be talking about that one monster NPC that likes to question about stars, like,
"What's a star? Can you touch it? Can you eat it? Can you kill it? Are you a star?"
There is something interesting they bring up though. Once you kill Undyne and go back to talk to them, they will say that one of the stars faded out. Pretty interesting. Serial murderer is an anagram for Azrael Dreamer. Kind of poetic in a way. A young, kind, innocent prince. During Undertale's Kickstarter phase, there was a $32,000 goal where there would be an alarm clock app. On the Undertale website, you can view all the unused dialogue that would have been featured in the Cut Alarm Clock app. Link in the description below. Undertale has an official tarot card merchandise line that you can buy for $17 on fangamer, with 36 high quality arts featuring characters from Undertale that will remind you of your moments on your journey from home to new home. Again, I had trouble with what this is referring to, but I think it's referring to how Gaster's card was cut out of the tarot cards line and that Frizz's card was named to the human. However, I think it's referring to this card instead. You see, this card shows, but for whatever reason, their name is censored. Another thing that's worth noticing is that this is the Major Arcana 15, which is the Devil. The Devil card represents your shadow, your dark side, and a negative force that constrains you and holds you back from being the best version of yourself. You may be at the effect of negative habits, dependency, behaviors, and thought patterns. You have found yourself trapped between the short-term pleasures that you receive and the long-term pain you will experience. However, with the Devil, you are choosing the path of your instant gratification, even if it's the expense of your long-term well-being. In effect, you have sold your soul to the Devil. Now, I would also like to mention a discovery of a user named GetYourFix, who decided to decode the message through a series of coloring and font examination. What they decoded was either the words human or fallen. Major props to them. Grandpa Semi is a scrapped character who was supposed to appear in Undertale, presumably as Papyrus's and Sans grandfather. The reasoning for this will be Semi is the name of a font, just like the two skeleton brothers. Semi could also be related to WD Gaster, due to the similar font naming. During a battle, the protagonist can interact with an enemy in many different ways through acts. But the enemies present must be either killed or spared to end the counter. In the game's files, however, there is an unused spell attack. This spell attack can be seen in the screenshot about a post Toby made called Underbound 2. It was most likely cut early on in development since it's not featured in a demo of Undertale. It's kinda interesting how it was planned that you can use magic in battles, and how the beginning of Undertale's intro had continuity that humans can use magic. But now it became a fucking plot hole. I mean, in the game, there's never been a situation where you did anything remotely magical, other than controlling timelines, but that's different. But hey, look at the bright side. The spell button made a return in Deltarune, so that's cool. Towards the end of the core, you will then have a boss battle with Metaton EX. Early in the battle, Metaton asks the protagonist to write an essay about what they liked most about him. In this essay mode, you will be able to write any message that you want, but if you were to write out keywords such as legs, arms, I love you, or Toby, you will then be rewarded with extra rating points on your rating scale. Writing Toby earns 300 points and then will cause Metaton to say, I mean, not gonna lie, he's right there, bro. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the last one. Hope you all enjoyed.